Well, good morning everyone. Good morgen. This is my beautiful beast for the day. I'm not talking about Michael. How'd you turn it on? Oh, it's got a key. I thought it was keyless. What? Ah. Thanks, Dad. Well, there you go. That's the first confusion. So it's keyless, and the keyhole is there. Anyway, R12 9T. Okay, we on? Are we on? Grazie, grazie. Oh my god. Oh my god. I mean, let's get this out of the way straight off the bat. I really love I loved all of the R90s. I love the 1200 air-cooled motor. I love a lot about it, but I'm too big for most of them. And it's just such a shame because I look like such a weirdo with a big long back. I'm sure you'll see some. I'll see if I can borrow some footage of someone else. But let's get it out of the way, and I'll try not to mention it again. Other than that, as I said, we've got a 1200 air-cooled motor. This motor has been fiddled with and fettled with, but in essence it's still the same boxer twin. We've got a new airbox system. We've got a completely new mainframe. This has been to help the customization moving forward. So if you imagine like a big wedge of cheese which goes from the rear shaft up to the top of the forks and then down to the fork spindle, there's like a strong diagonal line, and it leaves lots of space up top. Oh, we're going this way, are we? For modifying tanks, modifying seats, all that type of stuff. I'm going to put my heated grips on. Have I got heated grips? Yeah, sweet. So new frame, new exhaust system. Do you know, I'm going to talk about this in a minute because the motorway is boring. But this is it's a very handsome bike. I mean, look at the motorcycle Michael's modelling there. It's very, very pretty. It's pretty, but it's also very masculine. That's quite a hard look to achieve. I think it's just the whole bike is essentially built around this 1200 boxer motor. That is this bike, and that is the reason for having this bike, and I love it. I think over the years of R9T updates, or the R12 now as it's called, so it could be part of the heritage family of the R18, R12, blah blah blah, it has without doubt lost a bit of its passion and a bit of its rawness, which I really liked in the first generation R9Ts. Now, a lot of this is unavoidable. This is to do with the Euro emissions stuff, and BMW are now very proud that this still meets, this air-cooled engine, air-cooled 1200 meets, I think it's Euro 5 plus. Or some other technical name, but it's incredibly boring, so I won't talk about it. But yeah, it's quite an achievement to get it compliant, which is why the exhaust system's changed, and underneath there's a big flat box cat box. So we're going to wind our way up into the hills and enjoy a lovely morning's ride, bit of fresh air. I mean, these surfaces in this morning, chill and not particularly nice, but anyway. So I shall update you further as we go. Thanking you kindly. Look at this beautiful landscape. How lucky are we? Well, you join me at... I know a lot of people think an R9T is a trendy city bike, but this is what it's for, which is not relaxed canyon cruising, but certainly slightly lazier. And it's just beautiful. Stick it in third, fourth, and just roll through these beautiful vistas with a engaging soundtrack, a visceral and authentic air-cooled engine, and it's just such a really beautiful experience. It's not about getting your knee down and going as fast as you possibly can, being on the limit, although actually it is quite fun on the limit. This is what it's about, almost the limit, and enjoying the ride. It really is very, very enjoyable. I mean, on the performance side of things, the brakes are really good, the traction is really good, and I mean the tractable motor, not necessarily the electronics, which are also exceptionally good. There's a sort of funny fueling thing, and this may be to do with how it's getting through Euro emissions and all that sort of stuff, but sometimes you'll go knock it down a gear, or you'll come off the throttle and it'll want to over fuel it a little bit, and you get a little surge just before you enter a corner, which if you're on the limit of braking you don't really want. That's a bit of a criticism. And when you're really flinging it around, it's quite springy, it's got a bit of an oscillation to it, but we've got a long wheelbase, a lot of weight and what do you expect? So it's kind of just put up with it. It's not like it's like, oh god, the suspension's not good enough, you know, for me to lap round Brands Hatch. Like, forget it. It's not really supposed to do it. This is what it's supposed to do, and it can keep up with a lot of other much more sporty bikes, but that's not what it's for. It's for looking good, sounding good, and feeling bloody brilliant. I mean, ground clearance is obviously a bit of an issue, but at least it lets you know. I love it. I love the motor. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it's almost like a quirky. It's got its sort of German quirks. It's BMW quirks, and I think that makes it really appealing. And it's absolutely fast enough. And this morning we had to sit on the highway for a little bit, and it was fine. A bit blustery, but you can't have everything. I also like these dials. It just feels really nice. And this dash, by the way, a lot of the other guys prefer the analog, but I really like this digital dash. And it's got a simple mode where it just displays your speed and your gear, basically. It's got heated grips, it's got all the electronics you'd need. You can plug in your phone to this nav mount thing here and have the BMW connected ride. So it's got everything you could possibly want. I suppose if you're really cool, if you're really the coolest bearded man with a trucker cap in the neighbourhood, then you'll probably want an original air-cooled R100 or an R80 or something, and then you would have had it built by some other guy with a beard and loads of tattoos. But that's a lot of hard work, and your bike will not be as good as this. Bloody lovely. Look at these almond trees, absolutely delicious. So I've just gone into dynamic mode, and it's quite a nice little animation change. So you can go to rain and it goes all blue on this little new digital dash, and then you go into road and then it goes grey and boring like a road, and then it goes dynamic and you get a nice little orange line just to make sure you're feeling sporty. I love this dash. I think it's great. The rest of the bike is unapologetically full of technology, so why make your life worse with the analogs? The loggers, Logatelli, Andrea Logatelli. Okay, back into the mountains, dynamic mode, engaged. The lead rider did say something about the road surface being really slippery, but I'm not sure if she was talking about this bit or something else. Right, so we're on the way back to the hotel now, and actually I want more time on it. A lot of launches, I know we're only doing the morning on this, but a lot of times it's like, yeah, okay, cool, let's get on with the next one, whatever. But actually I'm really enjoying this. I think that's what the takeaway of this bike is. It's quite a joyful experience. It's not about the fastest, the lightest, the raciest. It's about bringing an experience which actually sadly is lacking these days. It feels like authentic motorcycling, even though there's loads of safety and technology and ABS, cornering ABS and all that sort of stuff we've got on this, and traction control and heated grips and sat-navs. It still manages to retain that essence of riding, and I know that sounds a little bit Shoreditch, but it really does. And it's a visceral, lovely experience, and it's a really nice place to be. than just cruising along. Look, you're probably not going to want to ride one of these all year round and in the rain and in the mess, but when you want to go for a weekend ride with your mates or your missus or whatever you want to do, this is a really nice, really lovely experience. You're not going to be setting lap records, although it is fast, but that's not what it's about. It's about enjoying the ride. I think it's really, really good. I mean, there's a couple of annoying suffocations from the emission stuff, but look, there's just nothing you're going to do about that stuff moving forward, so you've got to just deal with it. There's a big dog over there. What was I waffling on about? The experience. For a modern bike, this has captured the experience of riding a motorcycle very, very well. And it looks really good as well. I just wish I was a little bit shorter, because I just feel like I've got a great big lolloping body on this slender, pretty thing. It's not slender. Well, it is slender. It's just got massive, like, scrotal sacs. I love the unconventionalness of the motor as well, and what they're doing, and they're sticking with this boxer thing. It's a bit like a 911, this engine. It shouldn't really work, but it just does. Right, braking, very, very good actually. It's quite a heavy bike, this, and I've got no complaints about the braking whatsoever. And for extra technical safety, it does have the cornering ABS, so it knows what lean angles you're doing. You could probably extract that information out of the bike somehow, maybe, I don't know. No, you've got a digital dash. So yeah, brakes, very nice, and the rear brake's really nice as well. Actually, you can easily, I know it sounds silly, but it's easy access, the rear brake on this. I find it really easy to push. Some bikes, I'm just not in the right shape for it. And it's quite strong, the rear brake on this as well, so it's really nice just to settle the bike if it gets a little bit wallowy mid-corner. Which leads us onto the suspension. Perfectly adequate, more than adequate for what this bike is. Beautifully poised. It's a little bit, it does have this big sort of wallow on transition, but that's kind of part of the fun, so I'm not going to criticise it for that. Look at this! Wow. Wowee. Ah, this is the grippy surface, much better, yes. See, I'm not going to criticise the suspension for having a little bit of inadequacy, because it's got a lot to deal with, it's got a lot to suspend, especially with me on it. So generally, chassis, really pretty good. It's got a preload knob, which is halfway in the middle of the bike, which is quite interesting. The only thing is, you just got to be careful of these great big cylinder heads sticking out. But I like it. I like the way you got to ride round that. Woohoo! Motor. What do we say about the motor? I mean, beautiful low down torque, traction, powerful. You could probably do this whole thing in sixth if you wanted to. It's the centerpiece. It's the heart. It's the soul of this motorcycle. And yeah, it wouldn't be the same without it. All various modes, obviously, which control and regulate the power and the traction. It's all done electronically these days. Lighting, headlights, classic looks. Obviously the big beautiful classic round headlight. This bike that I'm riding has the Headlight Pro, which has got, I think it's got adjustable bloody stuff all over it. It can turn for you and all of these things. It's got the LED moustache. I think a design criticism I do have a little bit, I'm going to go closer to this bike in front, is that tail light. I think they could have done a little bit more with that, because the rest of the bike is so nicely refined and beautiful. At least it hasn't done away with the tail light completely, which is this seems to be what BMW be doing with these stupid braking tail light things, which you can't see when you're indicating and braking. But anyway, obviously we haven't got a lot of air protection or wind protection here, but again, I think the character of this bike, you want to be in the wind, you want to smell the fields of manure, and you want to feel in contact and in touch with the world around you. So I'm alright with that. And in fact, you can get, as with most BMW products, you can get a plethora of screens and accessories and stuff, and there is they do like a half sports fared thing, but I actually think it might just end up giving you more bluster. Wheels, wire wheels I've got on this as well. Does come with mag wheels as standard, which aren't the prettiest of things. So I recommend going for the mag wheel, the wire wheels. And yeah, I mean, if you're into retro bikes, you can't much go wrong with this one. It's a little bit pricey. I think this one sits at 16,700 with all of these accessories. That's the paint, that's the wheels, the dash, the headlight pro, the comfort package, cruise control, all of these other things, heated grips. They all cost money. But yeah, brilliant bike, really enjoying it, and I'll be sad to get off it at the end of the day. I mean, just look at it. How handsome is that? Beautiful thing, beautiful thing. And I was saying to some of the guys, it's quite rare to have a pretty bike which has still got a bit of masculinity about it. It's still a proper bike. It feels like an old school. It really has captured that old school, big, twin boxer feel. And it's been an absolute joy to be cruising around these beautiful roads. So this bike sits at, what was it, Neil? 16,700. This bike sits at 16,700 with the paint, with the comfort pack, with the wire wheels. So it's still the 1200 air-cooled boxer twin, beautiful, and it's just a joy to ride, to be honest with you. It's got beautiful paint. The finish on the motorcycle is really nice, really premium. Now we've got the control wheels and stuff from the older GSs and things like that, the other BMW kit. We've got cruise control on it. We've got adaptive headlights. All the tech you could ever want, but in a all the tech you could ever want, but in a platform which really does still feel authentic and real, and it's got that nice spirit about it. So yeah, let's go and get a lunch and some tapas and stuff. Very nice.